Hello, everyone, and welcome to another card kit release and tutorial. This one is our Thanks a Latte card kit die. So you get the word die thanks with a mat. You get the shape of the little latte cup and the lid. You get the little kawaii face if that's what you're into. The band that goes around. The frame if you're going to make it into a shaker. Solid piece if you want to change whatever is inside your latte cup. Maybe you like matcha. Maybe you like coffee. It could be whatever you wanted. And then another band, which is the top of the cup, and this is how it goes and gets put assembled. So you can see all the pieces of how it's going to be coming together. I'm actually going to be moving my band down lower on my card when I make it into a shaker so more of it shows. But just so you know, that is the die that comes in the kit. And then you also get your papers and your sentiments. The shaker bits this month are super cute. There's some coffee beans in there, browns, pinks, blues, and some little white pearls. The sentiments that come with this kit this month is you mean a lot to me, a latte to me, a latte, which could go with a thanks word die, thanks a latte, and sending you a whole latte love. And then you get 2 sheets of each of the papers. You get this beautiful coffee and bean paper. And then you get another variation. This is with the coffee cup on the side. This is more on the top. But these beautiful greens and browns. And then you get kind of like a coffee parchment-y looking paper. You get 2 of all of those sheets. And then you get your solid colored cardstocks. You get a cream color, a brown color, and a green color, and they all match really lovely with the decorative paper that comes in your pack. Now, technically, this was our April kit. We are releasing it later because there was a little bit of a delay with the dies coming over. We had to wait for them to be released. So this technically is our April kit. We're doing it in May, the beginning of the May, because we do have our May kit later on. So I already went ahead and I cut all the pieces of what I think I'm going to want to use. I printed out some of the sentiment strips. Wasn't 100% sure what color I want the thanks to be in, so I did cut it out in all of the colors cardstock. So once I decide which one I'm going to use, it will help me choose better. Let's see, we have our lids. I have my chipboard frames and acetate ready to go. This is what I was saying. If you wanted to fill your cup, you have the solid piece, so you can make it look like coffee. Again, you can make it look, whatever printed paper you have, or if you want to make a matcha or whatever. You could even make these into milkshakes if you wanted to. So a strawberry milkshake, whatever floats your boat, basically. Okay, so I already prepped my 2 base pieces. I used the solid green as my base mat, and then I used one of the decorative coffee mugs on one, and then the parchment coffee stained one for the other. I'm just going to put those aside, and then I was going to use this as one of the mats and an oval on my other one, but don't know what we're doing just yet. So let's at least start off by prepping our shaker because that takes just a little bit more time. So I just cut out the frame in a lightweight shaker, chipboard paper, and I'm just going to build up my wall, and I just need to layer it as high as whatever sprinkles I'm putting into my shaker. So I'm just going to go ahead now and just start gluing and layering at least 4 to maybe 6 layers, and I will see how that goes as I start building the chipboard layer. And again, I just like to use chipboard as opposed to foam tape, but you are more than welcome to use foam, or even you don't even have to have foam tape. If you just go get like fun foam sheets at even the dollar store, you can cut the die out of the foam and then just glue your foam together. Um, if you didn't want to use actual foam tape where you're trying to line it all up, especially if you don't have thin foam tape, because this is thinner than a quarter of an inch. So you would have to end up cutting your foam tape, and then it always looks choppy on the side. So I just like the clean look of how it goes together on the side. So that is why this is my preference. But I have done it with a foam sheet before, and it gives it a nice clean look as well. And our dies will cut straight through a standard foam sheet that you can get at any craft supply store or Dollar Tree place. Okay, so I think this was already four put together. So let's just go ahead and do one more. I think the thickest thing on my shaker bits in height is going to be those pearls. So I will just see when we put them in there that they don't overflow to the top. Okay, so there is my base of my chipboard. I do want one of mine to have a face on it, and then I did do another one that's going to be solid for a more plain, I guess. And then I'm just gonna cut out some pink to put behind the cheeks here. And then I just took a strip of white and used a black marker so I can go ahead and do my eyes and my mouth. So let me just cut for my cheeks. And all I'm gonna do here is kind of pretty much line this up, trim the excess off. And then because of where that mouthpiece is, I'm just going to have to cut out, if I have a pencil around here, I had one. I guess, okay, here's a pen. I'm just going to, so I can kind of get an idea of what to cut out there. I just going around here. Okay, let's see if that, okay. Move it down just a smidge. And there I go. And that will give me my cheeks. So I'm going to glue that down. Okay, and then just line this up. Making sure the cheeks are covered, but not the mouth. Okay, got it right there. And then I can just glue this right along the back side to get the black part of the eyes and the mouth. And I can just glue that straight across because it can cover the pink on the back. It's not going to matter because that layers down first. Then I could put this aside and let it dry. And now for one of mine, I have my cute little face ready to go. And I think I'm going to put this one on to be the shaker. Okay, next what you're going to want to do is grab your base piece. And again, if you want to make a straw, all you have to do is just with your die, you can just cut out on a scrap piece of paper and then glue a straw, or you can just take a marker, and that's what I'm going to do. I am going to, let's see if I can find a marker color that will kind of, let me get a scrap piece of the same paper. This is the one I'm not using, so, and I think that matches nice. This is just my Copic marker YG63. And because the lid is going to go on top of it, I don't have to worry about how far down I'm going with my green to give it a green straw. So at least that matches a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and assemble my top of my latte lid. So you have your lid that goes on the top, and then you have the secondary part of the lid goes on the top part. And if you're ink blending this, or if you want to cut this out of chipboard as well to give it dimension, it really will. It's probably hard to see on camera, cream on top of the cream color, but you do have the layers. But again, you know what? Let's go ahead. I'm going to ink blend mine. Let me grab a brush here and some ink. And I'm just going to lightly, just so that you can see, just so you can lightly see the edges of the paper. Give it just a little bit of a dimension, as you can see right there. Okay, and then for my lid piece, again, just need to lightly edge that as well, so then you can kind of see how it's giving it more of that 3-layer look. You don't have to do that. Again, and you can also do this with markers as well. Or, you know, depending, you can do it in different colors. However, you would like to do for the look that you're trying to achieve. So I'm just going to line this up. Super easy to line up everything when you're using a die because it's all going to match up perfectly. Oops. And then my top piece is going to go right there. And now I have the base part of my 1 cup. And I'm going to go ahead really quickly and just do the exact same thing on my other cup. So there's my straw bit. And just put some. That one I probably over inked a little bit more than I would have liked. And the reason why I'm not inking the sides is because this is going to cover that anyway. Otherwise, if I wasn't, I probably would have ink blended, you know, the whole bottom part as well so it all matches. But it's really not going to make a difference since it's going to get covered up. I'm going to grab my other one. And again, I'm just doing this so I can have a little bit of dimension on my card. Usually I like to use a lot of chipboard on my projects. I like it for the sturdiness of it. So I could have done that as well to give it the dimension I was after. Okay, so there is my 2 cups. And then I have cut out this coffee bit here to make my coffee. And I cut 2 top frames just so that it would finish it off a little bit. And then I have my wrap band. And then on this one, I'm actually going to go ahead, I'm going to glue my chipboard frame down. And you can also, I could, if I wanted to have a background here as well, I could do that. But since I'm going to be putting the shakers in there, I'm not going to put paper in there. but you could do that as well. Or, you can ink blend the center if you wanted as well. But I'm going to be putting shaker bits in there, so I don't want it to have to compete with too much stuff going on. And I am just going to make sure I line this up to the sides as best as I can. Okay, and now I'm going to grab my shaker bits. And where's my acetate sheet? I do have my acetate window here as well. I'm going to go ahead now and fill up my cup. And yeah, see, it's just flush with that top chipboard. I could put another one on there just to raise it up a little bit more. But as long as they are going to be laying flat in here, and you got to make sure that they're going to lay flat and not hit up, so that when you add your acetate, you don't want to get like a bubble because they're too high up. Oops. So I'm going to put these back in there, make sure everything's lying nice and flat. So that's what I do. I just use my finger and see if they're underneath the wall, so there's no buckles. Okay, and then I can just add my glue. And the most important thing when doing a shaker is that you have that solid line of glue going around, because if you have a little bit of a gap in your glue, your shaker bits would escape. And then I'm just going to use my finger and press down on that glue to make sure it's on there. And I don't mind if the glue oozes out a little bit because it dries clean and clear, but you do just want to make sure everything is level to the sides. If something goes off, you didn't glue it on exactly flat, you can just take a pair of scissors and trim that off. And then next we're going to put our frame right on top. So here is our frame. And again, you just want to line it up. Always use your fingers, making sure everything is lining up. And then for my face, I'm going to just so you could put it up here. And it's so funny that depending on where your face is placed on your inanimate objects with kawaii faces, it really changes the whole personality of the item. So here is how it can look. Gives you a different kind of look there, and a totally different look when it's down on the bottom, which you could just trim these off if you wanted. I want mine to be kind of in the middle. It overhangs a little bit, and that's fine. It doesn't bother me. And I'm just going to put glue more towards the center and not towards the edge, since I know it's going to hang off. And then I'm just going to put it on as straight as I can. Another thing you can do, which is really fun with the kawaii faces, if I have it centered, but if you put it a little off center, it's like it's looking to the side, and you really can give them quite a few different personalities. I should have inked this while it was not on my card here, so let me just grab some of this ink. I can try to get some of it on here. Let me just a little bit more, just a second here. Just so it's matching that cup lid. Okay, and there's my cute little kawaii one. Okay, and I think this one I'm going to have on, well, let's see. Let's put the other one together. So the other one is a little bit more I don't want to say plain, but a little bit more um, contemporary, maybe. It's not as cutesy and whimsical because it's just going to be the coffee cup. And this is for, giving it to someone who's maybe not into the whole cartoony look and feel. And that's fine. And then I'm going to put my frame on top of this one. But again, I mean, this would be really cute. You can make these with different papers on the back. You can make Halloween shakes, Christmas shakes, Easter ones. I mean, just fill it up with different color papers, or even if you like to color in a different background. Okay, let's see which one background I want for which cup. See, I think if I put this, I just lift up my, if I put this on here, it's just too much of the together too close. At least this one will break it up a bit. So I think we're going to stay with that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to glue my oval right down to the center. Just eyeball it as best as you can to the center. And then I have this. I'm going to get my sentiment after we figure what we're doing with this one. I like to put mine off. I don't like always having things straight on. I think it just gives it a little bit more of appeal. But I know I want on my band, I want this to say thanks. So I do want to know, let's see, I do want to use the green. I just don't know if I want the green matte to break up the colors this way, or if I want maybe the green lettering on. No, actually, I think I like it this way. Okay, I'm going to do it that way. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to just glue down my base, and basically I just find the stitch marks and I try to even it that way. Again, I just like the illusion when things aren't always straight on, because I tend to not be the best, the best gluer straighter honor, if that's a word. So if I put things on an angle, it just kind of tricks the eye for people, and then they don't notice when things are crooked. And then I'm just going to take this one and glue this also on an angle this way. And then my wraparound band, I'm just going to glue right in the center. And then I'm going to glue my word to my word mat for the thanks. But you can use this little coffee cup, like I said, Slurpees, milkshakes. It doesn't all have to be coffee, 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 even though I know coffee is huge. I personally do not drink coffee. I love the smell of coffee. I do like, my friend Steven got me a matcha latte, and that was amazing. I love that. So that's how this one is going to look, and I actually like it how it came out with the green. Gives it that little bit of a pop. Again, I'm using the papers that come in the kit, but since you have the die, you'll be able to do any papers and combinations that you want. And then you can also, I mean, most people will get it thanks, and it's a latte, so thanks a latte card. But you can also use your stamp and, stamp a little sentiment strip on here if you want it as well. And then for this one, I have sending you a whole lot of love, or you mean a latte to me. I think I'm going to go with the you mean a latte to me. I'm just going to trim it up a little bit because my paper trimmer blade was not very sharp. So it kind of, have you ever used them and they give you like the little, almost looks perforated because the blade isn't very, let's see if I put you mean a latte to me across the top. I don't want, maybe go this way so it doesn't cover my straw. We could just have it go straight across. Up there, I don't think it's balanced as much though. Maybe down on the bottom. I would have to straighten it a little bit. Okay. So let me go ahead and glue my, sorry about that, the doorbell. Let me just glue him down. Oops. Grab it and see. Could just center him. And that's what I like about when you have stitching on your dies, because you can kind of be like, okay, it's over a little bit on the stitching here, so you can match it on there, and then it just helps, I think, angle things a little bit better. And again, let me just trim a little on my sentiment. I should have done these with this. We have sentiment strip dies and then stamp them in there, but I just wanted to be able to get this done. So if I, well, just kind of use my fingernail so I can kind of get an idea on where I'm cutting this. And then I'm just going to glue that right on the bottom. I mean, yeah, I could put it here too, but then just the only part of the shaker that you're going to get if I put it down on the bottom here is the top piece. You're not going to see that it's a shaker all the way on bottom. If you didn't do a face, you could have, put a sentiment across, there as well. But I'm just going to go ahead and I'll just put it down on the bottom and just have it go from this stitched line across to that stitched line. Okay. And there are our two different kinds of cards that I made using the same kit. One I made into the shaker, one I just made into a regular card. Again, it comes with the die. The kit comes with, you get the 10 sheets of paper, you get your shaker bits, all the pieces of the dies. And you can have so much fun with this kit. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this is our April card kit, and I will see you very soon and very shortly with our May kit that will be coming out near the end of the month. Thanks for joining me. Once again, I'm Annie from Stamp Anything, and have a brilliant day. Bye now.